Hello and welcome to another video tutorial from Easy Academy. In this particular video, I'm going to be covering just the Azure Cosmos DB Kafka connector, where I will talk about some of the scenarios you can use it for, as well as some of the configuration values and the expectations I think you should have when you're using the connector at this time. So in case you're not familiar with what a Kafka connector is. Kafka Connect is one of the APIs in Apache Kafka that allows you to move data out from data stores out of Kafka into Kafka, and you can also push data from Kafka into other data stores or destinations. So if you're using Kafka Connect and you're trying to use a connector to bring data into Kafka, that is called a source connector. If you're trying to push data out of Kafka into a different data store, that is called a sink connector, where the data store that you're trying to push data into is your destination. So how is this relevant? Well, the Azure Cosmos DB Connector is just one of those connectors that has the capabilities of playing the role of both a source connector that allows you to pull data out of Cosmos DB into Kafka, and then it can also play the role of a sink connector that allows you to push data from Kafka back into Cosmos DB. So as you can see here, we have several connectors that can serve both as the source connector that allows you to bring data into Kafka from those data stores or workloads, and you can also have we also have several connectors that allows you to push data from out of Kafka into those different destination data stores, and Cosmos DB again is one of those sink connectors as well. So these are all the different connectors that we have that integrates between Kafka and Azure. And one of the ways in which you can run these connectors is you can do it using Confluent Cloud. You can also run it on Kubernetes. You can also run it on virtual machines. And then recently, we also have strategies where you can run it using the Azure Container Instance. So in terms of architectures, those are all the different options you have. You can pick whichever one you want to use, and you can run it in your particular environment. So I'm going to switch screen now to go to the documentation page. So if you go to Confluent Hub and type in Cosmos DB, you should be able to find this documentation page. So it has all the information that you would need to get started with setting up your Cosmos DB connector. And then if you visit the documentation page for the connector itself, it has information about the source connector, how you can set that up, as well as the sink connector and how you can set that up. One thing that I want you to pay attention to is that the configuration for the source connector is different from that of the sink connector. So we have examples here on how you can configure the source connector. So if you visit this particular page, you should be able to see all the different values that are expected. So here, since we're pulling data from Cosmos DB into Kafka, these are all the different settings we have to pay attention to. The key converter is the JSON converter. You will need to set up the polling interval, the Cosmos DB endpoint, the key that you're using to connect to Cosmos DB, the database, and then all the different containers within the Cosmos DB database that you're going to map to your topic. So we have this value here that maps between the containers in Cosmos DB and the Kafka topics you're trying to set up. So all the different settings are all available here for the source connector if you're interested in doing a deep dive into the different meanings and the different expectations for those connectors. So I mean for those settings and configurations. So for the source connector, the typical data type and data structure obviously is going to be JSON. Now when we move over to the sink connector, we have a little bit more flexibility, where because you're moving data out of Kafka into Cosmos DB, you may be able to use the JSON converter. You may also be able to use the Avro converter depending on whether your data is structured in Avro or structured in JSON. So those are the different data types that are supported when you are using the Cosmos DB sync connector. So we have here the Avro converter if you're doing that. But one thing is that if you're using Avro, you're going to have to specify the schema registry where the Avro data structures are being monitored from. The only limitation is that when you are doing the sync connector, the auto creation of databases and containers are not supported. So you already have to set up those containers so that you can map them from your topics into the destination containers in Cosmos DB. And the other thing also is that I think binary payloads are not yet supported. So that is something that could come up in the future. When it comes to exactly one semantics, because that's typically some of the questions that we receive, the source connector, if you're using only one task, you can have exactly one semantics. But if you use multiple tasks for the source connector, then you're going to have at least one semantics in terms of bringing data from Cosmos DB into Kafka. When we are doing the sync connector, you can have exactly one semantics regardless of how many tasks you have. So that is all I wanted to cover in this particular tutorial. This is just the beginning. If you have any questions about other scenarios that you would like to see, please feel free to leave those additional scenarios or demos or some of the different sources and syncs you would like to see. Please put that in the comment section, and I will be very happy to get started with setting up those examples and walking you through how to do that exactly. Finally, if you like this particular content, please feel free to share with other people that you think will benefit. You can also subscribe to my channel. I have other social media presence on Twitter and on Instagram. You can also check out my GitHub repository, where you can check out some of my content, as well as my website, where you can find additional content that I have, as well as some tutorials and courses as well on Apache Kafka. So that's it from me today. Please let me know if you like this video, and if you like to see similar contents, please feel free to subscribe so that when those contents are uploaded, you will be notified as soon as they're available for consumption. Thank you very much for your time today.